Hey everybody, what's going on? ShabbyDoo here, and today we're taking a look into the Steam Next Fest. I want to bring you 5 good city builders or colony simulations for you to check out during the Steam Next Fest so you can keep them on your watch list and see how these progress. So let's jump through the list here in no particular order. I am kind of going like least to favorite, but I'll talk about them as we get into them. All right, and number 5 on the list will be Villagedum. What we have here is a colony simulation that's in 2D, and it's a side-scrolling type game, so it's not quite sandboxy by any means. So one of the main features of this game is built upon survival and keeping your peasants happy, or your serfdoms. So what you're gonna have to do is obviously keep them fed and keep them hydrated. So as you see here, you'll send them out, you'll hunt some boars and rabbits, etc. out in the world so you can get some meat out of them. And you got to keep them happy, because otherwise what can happen is you can have a coup, and no king wants a coup within their own majesty here. So, and one other thing that puts this game kind of lower on my list is this feels more like a tower defense kind of game rather than a simple colony sim. So what's going to happen is every day, as you can see here, so, hey, who's in charge? Payer will punish you. So you get bandits that come to your city every single day. If you do not pay them the necessary requirements, which obviously go up after time, they're going to raid you. So you can either tell them no or yes right off the bat, or kind of stay neutral. And then when they come later to collect, if you don't pay, they're going to attack you. So you better be ready to either fork out some dough or be ready for this right here and be ready for a siege. Build some walls, get your people ready, man the archery towers, etc. This is why I say it kind of reminds me more of a city builder slash tower defense kind of game like Becastled, because there are certain objectives every day. Now you can pay them off, but you know, towards the end you're going to be wanting to fight them because it might get too expensive. So again, that's why it's a little lower on the list, but definitely still looks like an amazing game, and definitely one to try out the demo of to see if you want to keep following this around. So obviously, as a city builder, you're going to need to be building and improving your village. You're going to need to be doing new structures, upgrades, and improving your defenses, again, because it's kind of like it's a city defense. So you can also create armor and weapons in the game, which I think is awesome for these kind of games. It puts an extra level of depth into it, so you can really gear out your people and get yourself specialized as well. You know, get a lot of archers out on that tower, a couple heavily shielded guys on the bottom perhaps to hold back the line. Good to go. Now another cool thing is, and I got a delve deeper into this to see exactly how it goes, but what you're going to have here is influence. An amazing thing about the influence system is that it encourages more guests to come in, like witches, other powerful political rulers, etc. So that way you can rule like a real king and have all these different, you know, proteges coming in, royal ambassadors, witches, random neighbors in the villages, mercenaries, etc. So a lot of things to think about and a lot of different assignments to give everyone, which is why this makes it a top 5 choice. But let's see what we got next here that kind of puts these games to shame, right? And number 4 on the list is Terranil. What we have here is a much more casual colony simulator, and it's actually, in my opinion, well, and they stated too, it's a reverse colony simulator, but my opinion is that this is like what happens to the world after a colony simulation game kind of takes place. You go in, you take a verdant land of joy and filled with nature, and you destroy it and put a big city in it or a big colony of some sort and just ruin the land, and then you move on to the next area that's luscious, and then you make it barren. Now you've got Terranil, which comes in and comes to that land and turns it from a barren wasteland into like a luscious habitat of either like a rainforest ecosystem, maybe swampland, etc. So your whole purpose is to come in, you got to start to purify the water, bring the soil back up to fertility, and get some pioneer your greenery. And it's such a casual city simulation as well, because obviously you got a little bit of natural disasters that can happen with the fire, because you know we're using mechanisms here to grow the land back. You know, we got some birds coming in. So it's a very relaxing, and it's a procedurally generated game. So even within the same biome, you'll never play the same game twice, essentially. So it adds a little bit of depth to that. But again, it's going to be an easier game to play. Very casual, but very fun at the same time. So do check out Terranil. Put this on your wish list, and you're going to enjoy just kind of sitting back and taking in the scenery that you create for once, rather than decimating for your colony. Number 3 on the list is a game brought to us by Dionic Games called Infraspace. This is also the same company that brought us an amazing colony simulator last year called Founder's Fortune, which is about managing your little idiots. And instead, they're taking us on a journey through space and allowing us to start a thriving colony from literally nothing. So here we have to start off on what's going to be an empty planet and decide where we want to build and what we need to start off with. We're going to need to start making some basic resources like concrete so we can start building some more power plants and then getting residents so that we can be getting some population growth, because growth and research is very important in this game. You know, once we have some iron, carbon, sand, sulfur, we'll get our first steel mill, concrete factories, and laying down everything necessary to start building our colony and working towards the end goal, which is a wormhole, which requires a ton of management and resources. Now, what's amazing about this is why I say it's SimCity, like as you can see, this is all about transportation management rather than resource management, because at the end of the day, you can produce as much as you want, but if you can't transport it, you can't acquire it fast enough and research fast enough to grow properly. But you can change the difficulty of the game so that it can be easier or harder with your transportation measurements. So do keep an eye on Infraspace, because this is going to be one to watch, and it's going to be a nice little space colony sim builder, because even though there is an end goal about making a wormhole and jumping to a different area, you don't have to play that. You can go infinitely if you would like. All right, and number 2 on the list here is going to be the Immortal Mare. What we have here is a more oriental twist onto your standard colony sim, which is a nice twist right now because medieval is obviously the big hubbub. So what we got here is we're going to be the local land god, and there's other gods around too, which we need to meet and befriend to help build our colonies out. So what we have to do is, you know, start from scratch as normal, collect resources, build production, living facilities, etc. And what's great is the residents have their own personalities and emotions as well. So they're going to need nicer houses, proper entertainment, leisure, etc. And you got to make their wishes come true as a local deity to make them happy as well. So that way they keep producing well. And what's great about that is there are plenty of buildings to create. You've got about 12 or 15 different buildings in the game, plus hundreds of decorations. And on those decorations, there are some sweet combinations that you can do. So keep mixing and matching and make sure you can find all those different hidden combinations of the game to increase your, you know, natural aesthetics of the town. And now, what we were talking about before is you got the gods, so you do have to befriend the other gods to help your city grow, because, for instance, you may need to befriend the moon god, so that way you can give some of the offerings to the moon god and increase the fertility of your town. And what does every prosperous town fear? A monster invasion. So we've got to be on the lookout, because as your town gets better, monsters are going to invade. So you need to build some city walls or some towers and start shooting down with magic as you lead your little idiots to proper survival and keep a prosperous city prosperous, and rather it being razed to the ground by, say, a bunch of horde of goblins. So this is the Immortal Mare. And it's definitely one to look out for, because it's a different twist on the game, and I think you're all going to really like this, so do check this demo out. And a well-deserved number 1 on this list is Patron, and this is something I am just etching to play right now. This is a survival city builder with a unique twist. One thing in most games is that happiness is kind of there and it's kind of negligible. Here, happiness is the core strength of the entire game. The social intricacy within this game is your main priority. City building is almost secondary in a sense. So the game starts off like every normal game, you know, construct, build, play, etc. But then you got to start building a sensitive social system here. You have to be a political mastermind to be working on sensitive matters like religion, immigration, loyalty, poverty. And some decisions are going to please some people, some are going to displease the others. You got to manage your tasks and citizens in a timely and efficiently manner, and prepare and adapt to all the different variables. And I am so excited, because if you have not seen the research table on this, it'll be coming up shortly. It is massive. It has to be one of the largest, if not the largest research system I've ever seen in a game. Look at it go. It's absurd. I've never seen one so big before in a colony builder, so it's something definitely to be looking out for. And that social dynamic, you're not going to get anything like that in another game unless you're playing like Politico. It is such a nice stretch and an amazing new system change to the colony sim genre that I hope this brings out a whole new field and diversion within the game that others are going to start to follow. I think these guys are going to be a trendsetter if they can just absolutely nail it. So absolutely go check out this demo and put this on your wish list. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. That was your top 5 colony simulations for the next fest going on right now within Steam. Do go check out all these demos. I'll link them down below for you so that way you can get a playthrough yourself. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well and hit that bell, because we will be playing a couple of these, so you'll see some nice first look, first impression videos coming out very shortly. Now, if you like this kind of content, make sure you hit that like button down below. Leave me a comment down below as well. Let me know what you thought of this list and what you may have added or removed or even changed the structure of my list. Would love to hear your guys' opinion as well. But all right, guys, that's going to do it for me. As usual, this has been ShabbyDoo. Hope the rest of your day is Not too shabby.